Welcome back, Better Investors, to another episode of The Breakdown here on the BI Academy channel. And what we're going to be talking about today is we're going to talk about real estate. We're going to talk about you financing different things like real estate and other things that you might want to buy and consume using your own banking system. So today I have with me Diamond. And Diamond, I appreciate you being on, for coming on, for this interview and spreading your knowledge and letting us know a little bit about, what you do and how it correlates to what we do here as far as helping people be able to finance with different transactions. I do know you're inside of the area. Diamond didn't want to come in today. She said she wanted to stay home today. So we're gonna do a virtual interview. So hopefully everything turns out okay, and we got a pretty good connection, and we're able to help people out and provide some value. So how are you doing today?
I'm doing fine. How are you? Happy Wednesday.
Thank you. Hump day. We're a little bit closer to Friday, so
That's
I'm
right.
feeling good about that. Yeah, I'm doing great as well. And give us a little bit more about your expertise when it comes to real estate and exactly what you do, uh, dealing with that field, that market.
Okay, well, I'll give you a little bit of my background. I'm actually a nurse. I've been travel nursing for years, for about 2 or 3 years now. And when I was fresh out of college, I was like, oh my gosh, nursing is gonna make me rich. I won't have to worry about anything when I graduate nursing school. And the older I got, the I wanted to focus on like generational wealth, passive income, and financial freedom. And I came to the realization that nursing by itself would not give me those three things, not just by itself. So then I started looking into real estate because it was something that make money on its own, that I really won't have to be there. I don't have to clock in, and then it's ownership, so I can pass it down to my next generation. So honestly, nursing has been my foundation for real estate, for my investment property and everything else that I have been trying to do since that investment property. So honestly, nursing is what funded my first investment property. It comes down to real estate. I'm open to any and everything. Right now the market is not the best. So, I pivot and I dib and dab in all different areas in real estate. I look into mobile homes. I look into, traditional homes, multifamily. I was recently at the tax sale auction. So whatever I can to get my hands into real estate, that's what I do.
Cool. So one of the things I want to skim over, and extract from what you just said, you were saying that, one thing is that you said you use your career to start your investment journey, and then you said
Mhm,
the market is not really a good time right now. And I think
mhm,
that the market goes through like market cycles, and it might not be the best. So when you say it's not a good time right now inside the market necessarily, is that as an investor or is that as a consumer? So if I'm someone wants to just buy my first home, or I want to get, my family a home, what even if it's not my first home, is it me as a consumer that's trying to buy a home and live inside of a home, or is it you as an investor that's maybe looking to take advantage of an opportunity?
I would say a little bit of both. Um,
I would
my
agree.
main, yes, a little bit of both because for one, from a consumer side, the interest rate is high. So I'm a travel nurse. So, I can, maybe put down a higher deposit, or whatever it requires. I can do that. So I'm just talking from the average person's point of view. Like, it's hard right now. And then you
Yeah.
also have a lot of like real estate investors who are really buying up pretty much everything. So the competition, it's a lot of competition. So it makes it harder for the average consumer to buy a house right now.
Yeah, so it's competition on the investment side of things, and then it's also from that competition, it's making it a little bit harder, along with the interest rates, like you were saying, it's making it harder for the average investor. I'm sorry, average home buyer to get into the market and also purchase a home. So
That's correct.
yeah, definitely. And then touching on another part of, you were talking about, pretty much anything. to get your hands into real estate you're interested in doing. So you were talking
Mhm.
about the auctions, and just to correct me if I'm wrong, that's for like foreclosures and different things like that.
That's right. So it's the delinquent tax sale auction. So basically, it's for whoever owns a home or owns a piece of land or just owns some type of property who did not pay their yearly taxes.
Okay, tax lien
So
investing.
yes, that's
Gotcha,
right. So
gotcha, gotcha.
basically, we just go in and we bid on those tax liens.
Yeah, so that's a. I guess we can kind of take a little bit of time to dive into that. So tax lien investing is, I think, it's a really safe and effective way of kind of dealing with real estate. I do think that you need to understand the property and what you're getting yourself into with that, because I know that when you do tax lien investing, for the people at home here, when you do tax lien investing, you're basically, like she was saying, you're paying the taxes on a particular property where the owner or the guardian of this particular property did not already pay them. So it doesn't mean that they won't never pay them. It just means that they haven't paid them already. And if you take advantage of the opportunity to arbitrage within the time that they didn't pay to the time they do pay, you can get some interest on the money that you then paid for the taxes on that property. Now, if they were
Mhm.
to not pay and the home is foreclosed on, or piece of property it doesn't necessarily have to be a home. When it is foreclosed on, you have the opportunity to then own it for probably a fraction of what you would have actually paid for it. Now, sometimes that is a very, very good thing. Then sometimes the saying of "you get what you pay for" kicks in as well. So
That's right.
you can end up with a property that that person didn't pay you on it for a specific reason. Maybe it just wasn't a good location, or there could have been some foundational problems, whatever the case is. So you definitely need to study the market and know a little bit about it. Would you agree to that, Donna?
I 100% agree. Just because you may win at that auction at that moment, the owner still has up to a year to pay their taxes plus whatever you paid at the auction. So it is still a high chance that the owner can still get their property back. So it's not even 100% yours. But like you said, you get what you pay for. So you also have to do a lot of due diligence, which costs money to make sure that the title is clear. You don't know, you don't ever want to go in blind and just bid on a property and it may just be run down. It needs to be completely demolished. So it's definitely a lot that goes into that tax lien auction.
Cool. Now, in the event that they do come back and pay the taxes that they owed, plus whatever it is that you paid, you
Mhm.
then would get your money back plus interest, though, right?
That's correct. You get a full refund.
Yeah. So in between that time, I want to dive into exactly what you're talking about, because that seems to be maybe more so what you deal with on a particular basis.
Mhm.
Is getting into like tax lien investing, which is very lucrative. Uh, from what I know about it. What I will say is, and I was gonna get into it myself at one point in time, but I got into I started doing like some day trading and some investing on with equities, cryptocurrency, and stuff like that. So
Oh,
I ended
cool.
up not doing that. But at one point in time, that was going to be something I dove into pretty heavily, and I'm not passing up the opportunity either. So we probably end up talking about that, seeing if I can't get some auctions and put some cash to work. So
That
what I want
works.
to do is, yeah, so yeah, let's team up. Let's see if we can, go in. I will go in there and outbid you on some auctions. Um, with that being said, is you were talking about using your funds at the auction, right? To be able to go out and buy the to buy the liens on these properties.
Mhm.
What I would do personally, and you know this from watching our video presentation, is that we would want to probably put those same dollars into our own banking. All right. So you probably already made a deposit into the bank. That's how you're able to now go and bid on these properties, right?
That's right.
But while you're cash, why are you bidding on the properties first and foremost? Like, why are you even willing to take a risk or try to go chase, you know, to chase like a gain? I think personally, correct me if I'm wrong, is because your checking or savings account doesn't actually yield you any interest.
Mm. So the reason I even thought about doing the tax liens is because like I said, I already have one property and I have tenants, but more so on the auction side, I wanted to flip, so I wanted to put my
Yeah.
money in And then if it's mine within that next year, I wouldn't even rent it out. I probably would just rent it. So I mean, I probably would just sell it to just have more of a cash flow, like a quick cash flow come in.
Yeah, so you're looking for like more of a capital gain, not necessarily cash flow. So,
Yeah, capital
you know,
gain.
what
That's correct.
yeah, so with your tenants, you're getting like a residual income and passive income as well. But you're looking more
Mhm.
so to say, hey, if I got $1,000, how can I turn it into? And so,
That's
that's that I do a little bit of both. And I think that it's important for people to have both when it comes to their portfolio. It's not just necessarily only focusing on cash flow. You got to get good at having capital gains as well.
that's
Now you have to pay taxes. Cash flow gives you it's a little bit more tax favorable treatment there, depending on what you're into. But what I will say is that you have the opportunity with capital gains that if you do it the right way, and I'm about to show you now, you can actually offset the taxes that you pay, and you can make a pretty good gain on your money, right? Without having to wait an extended period of time. Because the thing about cash flow is it still takes a lump sum of money or an asset, and then it flows it to you at a slower rate. So while that
that's
is a
right.
good thing, yeah, right. She's like, I trust me, I know, right? So yeah. So while that is a good thing, I think the only I tell people like, it's not a downside, but the only uh counter force to that is inflation. So if I got $500 a month cash flow, it's still, month number one, $500 is not going to buy me with $500 in month number two, three, four, and five, six. As we go on in time, you'll realize like, man, this $500 cash flow was really, really good 5 years ago. Now $500 cash flow is like, it's a drop in the bucket compared to what I need to actually maintain my lifestyle, so on and so forth. And that's when people start to try to go get those capital gains. And so
Mhm.
like I said, I think that, and I think you would agree that that's kind of why you're doing what you're doing. So I just want
That's
to make a deposit into my banking system. That's it. Instead of putting
mhm.
it inside of the bank, I want to put it in my bank. What is my bank? And my bank is a whole life policy with a mutual company designed for banking. So basically, that's a reverse engineered whole life policy whereby regular whole life policies I call I call regular insurance term, whole life, anything that's not designed for banking, I call it death insurance. The reason why I
Mhm.
call it that is because everybody's thinking about paying some money, and when they die, the insurance company pays their family, right?
That's
Just like
right.
car insurance, you don't think about car insurance in terms of like actually profiting from it. You think about car insurance in terms of if something happens to my car, they pay.
That's
I
right.
don't want to have to crash my car. I don't want to have to go to the hospital, and I don't want to have to die to be able to use my insurance.
Mm.
And so that's more so how I see the banking system is. I'm going to reverse engineer the policy, or if you're a consumer, I'm going to have it reverse engineered for me, whereby I can access as much as the death benefit as possible. So we have a three cup setup right here. The red cup being premium deposit, the green cup is cash value, and the blue cup is called the death benefit cup. And with that being said, is every time we put in a deposit into our banking system, we're going to have real life insurance where we can use this right now we're alive. Because the reverse engineering of the policy means we've unlocked the full potential of the death benefit. So if I have a $300,000 death benefit, the full potential of what I can spend is 300,000. The catch 22, so to speak, is people want to know what's the downside. Is that you
Right.
won't probably live long enough to actually spend the whole 300,000 because every year they're unlocking more and more and more of this death benefit number, and more that they're unlocking is called cash value. So you might
Okay.
have $300,000 that you can leverage. $300,000, and you're inside of real estate, so you understand this in terms of like think of a home and it has equity inside of it, right?
That's
The
right.
bank will let you loan against the equity of the home,
That's right.
and you can still actually own the home. So we still own our death benefit here, and
Mm.
let's say it's $300,000 there, but we might only be able to access 10,000 of that this year.
Okay.
Then next year, now I can access another 10. The year after that, I can access another 10, so on and so
Okay.
forth. Except the numbers actually go up. So instead of it just going 10, 10, 10, it could be like 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, so on and so forth, because we're getting compounding interest. How we're able to do that is because the deposits that we put into our policy is going to stay there. So I put my premium deposit, whatever it is I want to pay monthly, the money that I'm already trying to save in the bank, but I actually don't get any interest on it. I'm going to take that, and put it here. So people got 401k, so on and so forth. Everybody's trying to do the same thing. They're trying to invest their way to a better life. And the reality is that 99% of us have never actually saved any money in our lives, because savings means it grows safe, and more importantly, it actually grows. So our checking or savings account doesn't grow with any interest, so it can't be saved. And then
Right.
two, if we take into account risk, we have to go, if a 401k, IRA, Roth account, all those different things are nothing but investment accounts. And people say, I'm saving for retirement. No, I'm sorry to tell you that you've been investing for retirement, and you're hoping and praying that it works out. And that's why so many people have all these different streams of income. If you notice, especially wealthier individuals have a lot of different streams of income, because if you rely on something like the market or just one or two sources of income, just like Diamond was saying, she's a traveling nurse, makes pretty good money, but hey, that's not actually giving me the lifestyle that I want. And so
That's
if you rely on just that, you can be put inside of a tough situation. So back to what I was saying with the three cups. Now that we made that premium deposit, it's going to buy us a death benefit. What cash value is only how much of the death benefit that the insurance company is willing to let us borrow at that particular time. That's it. So now that I'm borrowing out of the pool of money that the insurance company has, my money is still there growing and compounding with interest the entire time. Because my contract with the insurance company, whole life insurance, says we'll take all of your money, grow it with interest, thereby creating a death benefit, and we'll pay that to your family when you pass away. That's what whole life insurance says. All of the money that you put in, you never actually lose it. You get it back
okay.
plus interest. Kind of sounds like those tax liens there, right? A little
Right.
bit of difference here is it's a guaranteed contract, whereby it's not guaranteed if I'm doing a tax lien. So
That's
let's say
right.
I took these dollars and I went and I put down on two or three different tax lien properties, and everything turned out great. I got a return on that money. I could then come back and pay myself back the loan that I took for those tax lien properties. Now here's the thing. I had the choice in how long it took me to pay this back. I could choose how and when. So my money's been growing with interest the entire time, regardless of how long it took. And like you were saying, it might take a year. You're looking to get your money back in probably like a year, so on and so forth. In between that time, I don't have to lose out on the opportunity cost of what I could have did with my money. I already know what it's doing. It's growing with interest.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, I leverage my system to go get to take advantage of the gains that I can make on the tax lien. Now that I've made the gains on the tax liens, I can pay myself back where I keep all of what I pay back. If I did that with the bank, or if I swiped a credit card to do that, I wouldn't have been able to pay myself back and keep all the money I pay back. I would have lost it to a third party or intermediary that's in between me and the tax liens, right?
Right.
So
Right.
from there, the interest that I made on those tax liens, I can offset the gains that I would have to pay taxes on. So I put in, just for a quick example, $1,000. I made a 10% gain. Now I have $1,100. If I owe myself, let's say, 5% in interest, that means I put back $1,050. So all that's left for me to pay taxes on is the other $50. So if I'm going to get taxed, I'm only getting taxed on $50 instead of being taxed on $1,100, right?
Okay.
The
That makes
interest
sense.
that I pay back to the policy is going to come here to premium deposit. So once I put back my 1,000, the extra 100 goes here in premium deposit. Well, I'm sorry, $50. The extra 50, because where 50 of that's going to go to taxes. So I pay 5% in interest back. I made a 10% gain, but I pay
Mm-hmm.
5% in interest. So
Okay.
$50 goes back into premium deposit. Now my death benefit is going to grow higher, because that's what premium deposits buy us, and life insurance buys us more coverage on our life, just like premium deposits that you pay for car insurance buys you more coverage on your car, right? Now that my
Okay.
death benefit has increased, I have more cash. Every time this number goes up, they have to give me access to more of it, right? So now I have
Right.
even more cash to make my next transaction. So now when I go back to the option, I'm looking to get 4 or 5 different tax liens. This time I can scale whatever it is I'm doing. And whether it's buying a piece of real estate, whether it's doing tax liens, whether it's making an investment in stocks, cryptocurrency, you want to buy bonds, whatever the case is, your banking system is not the investment. Your banking system is just that. It's a banking system. When you put dollars into the traditional bank now, you're only placing them there temporarily before you actually make a transaction or use them to do something, right? Same thing here. We're
Right.
just looking to actually get some growth on our money. And then from there, we want to be able to leverage our system and take tax free loans to then go and make investments, get out of debt, buy houses, buy cars, and do whatever it is we want to do. So how does this sound like now that we kind of put a little bit of a bow tie on this thing? How does this sound when you hear it in connection to what what you already do? Like how does that correlation sound?
It sounds like a good correlation. I mean, it's just a different approach that I like it because it ties the like so it's not like I'll be using like how I spent so much money at the auction. I can deposit my money somewhere else and then interest and I can gain and I can borrow against and it just all makes sense.
Yeah, right. So like it's thinking about doing the same things you already do and just kind of
Mhm.
doing it in a little bit of a different way. And so that's what I wanted to like show and I wanted to talk a little bit more about what you do because I saw you were talking about it online, you were talking about going to the auctions and taking advantage of those different opportunities. And I think that a lot of people are interested in doing that. It's just that there's an opportunity cost in between going to make the investment. And that's one thing I had to learn for myself is like there's an opportunity cost between making the investment if you're looking for a gain because there's no cash flow in between. So you have to wait for whatever it is to happen, and hopefully it does work in your favor before you benefit
Mhm.
from it. I want to be able to win during that time. I want to win now. I want to win during that time, and I want to win at the end. So I want to win, win, win versus hey, I'm put this in and then let's see if I win later on. And
Right.
so that's a little bit about the banking system and how we utilize it. Now I want to dive a little bit more into like your services. I see you're doing some networking and kind of marketing yourself online. So what is it that you do that you can help people with when it comes to real estate?
Honestly, I feel like it's something that everyone should do and everyone kind of wants to get into, but they either don't know where to start or they just don't have the funds for it. So, for an example, like the auction, I wanted to, share that information because you don't, when it comes down to the auction, you don't need, like, they don't care about your credit. They don't care about what job you work for the last so and so many years. Like, it was just an easy approach, but all you really need was money. That's it.
Okay.
All you
Would you
needed
say
was
that
money.
would you say that that is probably the easiest or probably like one of not just the easiest but probably like the safest and best way to get started in real estate if you're somebody that doesn't know anything about real estate?
As long as you do your due diligence, I do feel like that's probably one of the easiest ways without so many restrictions because even with me being a travel nurse for so many years and having the work history, having the credit, whatever, it was still kind of hard for me to get my first property, the traditional way that everyone else does. So I kind of do feel like it was easy as long as you have fun. But if you don't have money, then it won't be easy.
Got it, got it, got it. And that's why I want to introduce the banking concept. And if you have individuals that you're, I don't know if you're doing like some consulting or whatever the case is on the side, but
Mhm,
individuals need to understand financing. And I think that that's why it's important to use OPM, other people's money. The insurance company's literally saying, hey, you're worth a lot of you are worth a lot more dead than alive. The thing
mhm,
is that most people don't have agents, and that's what we do. We have our own insurance agency and we help people at the cash compound here. We help people design a whole life policy for banking. All right. And like I already said, what that means is we're just unlocking the full potential of that death benefit. And because you have financing, you can call the insurance company and say, hey, I need $10,000. They're not
mhm,
gonna check your credit, they're not gonna ask you what you need it for, any of that. They're gonna give it to you based on the fact that they know at any point in time you don't pay it back or you were to pass away, they can subtract it from the death benefit that they would pay your family anyways. From there I can take
mm,
that cash and go do whatever it is I need to do, take care of the things I need to
mhm,
take care of, and when I pay it back, I keep all of what I do pay back. And so that's the power of understanding what your policy can do for you. I think a lot of people underestimate what it means to have leverage and to be able to finance yourself. I want to be able to finance myself through my job or my business, and that's great. but it's so much better if I can use that revenue or that paycheck to do something that can benefit me, and then I can
Mhm.
leverage that. And I think that's what the disconnect between the haves and the have not, the rich and the poor, is rich people and wealthy people understand that you need to buy assets and leverage them. So just like if I had a piece of property, you said you got some rentals, right?
Mhm.
Now, what could you loan against the equity of those rentals and still have cash flow at the same time? If you wanted to, right?
No. I
Maybe
would
so.
love to.
She said, I would love to.
No,
So yeah, so you're saying that you can do that. So it's in a way it's kind of illiquid a little bit,
that's right.
right? So cool, exactly. So that's the thing is that our policy gives us that passive income, and we're able to. It's completely liquid the entire time. I can own this
Mm,
policy, continue to pay. Let's say my premium deposit that I put in every month is my mortgage, quote unquote. I'm able to continue to pay for this death benefit over the course of my life and use the equity of the policy the entire time. Your rental property or the home that you're renting out to someone else has to have equity for that to happen. This has guaranteed
that's
equity.
right.
So
That's right.
while you might get cash flow from that particular rental property, does not necessarily mean that that rental property has equity inside of it for you to loan against it while that person still lives there. So
Right.
these are some of the things that a lot of people don't take into account when we're talking about finances. That's why I want to draw the connection between the two. And I love to network with you some more and see if we can help yourself, some people that you know inside that area. We
Yeah.
want to bridge the gap and bring a lot more people into the space that we're in because what I do
Okay.
and what we deal with as far as being our own bank, we have a lot of people with capital. And we in the industry that you're in, you have a lot of people that need capital. So
That's
why don't
correct.
we connect those two, which we already do now. Private Money Club with Chris Noggle is one of the guys that we work with, and he essentially does that. But why don't we connect more people like that and see if we can't make private deals, see if we can't help people that need funding, and people that need funding can help the people that have a lot of cash, looking to get that cash
Mhm.
moving and working for them. So I appreciate you coming on. Do you have any questions for me? I'm doing something new here where I'm going to start asking my guests if they have questions for me.
Um, what have you done so far using this whole enterprise? Like, have you done anything, like any type of investments or anything like that
Yes,
with
yeah.
using these types of funds?
So
Mhm.
with my private banking system, I have been able to completely get out of debt, so I don't have any consumer debt. Now,
Mhm.
obviously, that's always fluctuating because like every now and then I get a 0% interest credit card, and they'll give all kind of little cashback rewards and stuff like that. So I might end up using it, but I still always use my policy to pay that off anyway. But I was able to get out
Right.
of debt that I did have, so about close to
Mhm.
$20,000 in debt. I was able to get out of that, and that includes credit cards, so on and so forth. Also, too, I've made a lot of different investments using my policy, some private equity investments, as well as I've also made uh, some day trading investments through here. I've been able to use my policy for a lot of different things. Car repairs. Actually, was able to get my Mercedes, which I definitely missed my baby. Somebody hit it,
Mhm.
got totaled. But at the
Oh,
time, I was able to buy to actually get it out the lot using my banking system. So it's been a lot. It's been a blessing. It's been a lot of different things I was able to do and accomplish with it. I mean, the most important thing is
mhm.
that it's kind of like having a stone that kills a lot of different birds. And you're not just it's not like a one bird, one stone. It's not just one bird to one stone, two birds. It's one stone, a lot of birds. You can knock out a lot of different things using your own banking system because you right now, if you're not your own bank, you don't understand the power of being able to actually earn interest on your money and then from there still be able to leverage a system to do other things outside of just actually grow money. And so it's been a blessing, and I would definitely recommend it to everybody. Obviously, that's gonna help people do it. And so from there, I would have to say that I have done a lot with it, and I'm going to be doing a lot more in the future. But I appreciate your question, and I appreciate you coming on, Diamond. Thanks so much for being on this episode of The Breakdown. I just wanted to get you on. I wanted to network with you, and I always want to give people an opportunity to kind of put themselves out there and, also to see if we can work together in the future and see what we can do. Guys, thank you for tuning in to this episode of The Breakdown here on the BI Academy channel. Make sure you subscribe, like this video, share, and comment, and let us know what else we can bring to you and help you guys with inside the future. So next time, better investments equal a better future. I'll see you guys in the next video.